Hello, friends. This is Dave Hurwitz, executive editor at ClassicsToday.com, here with 16 themes and variations that I couldn't live without. I love theme and variations works, especially big, huge, hulking, pianistic ones. They're so much fun. It's just like an endless joy in listening to what great composers who really know what they're doing, listening to them work with their tunes and create constantly changing atmospheres and emotions and expressive nuances out of what might seem at first to be unpromising material. Whoa, boy, we've got a lot of them. And I've got orchestral ones, and I've got just all kinds of stuff here. 16 of them. And I'm sure there are some that you will like, too, that are not in my list. So I'm very interested to get your list up to 16, not more. I think that's a lot, especially when you're doing variations. That's a lot of variations. I mean, figure hundreds and hundreds of variations of things. Let's start where, in the beginning, there was Bach and the Goldberg variations. And, even if you don't like Bach, you have to love the Goldberg variations because it's just so amazing. Even before, the Silence of the Lambs. I mean, if it's the favorite piece of a serial killer, I mean, what's not to love? No, it's terrific. It's absolutely terrific. Thrilling to listen to. Endless fun. As soon as you realize that it's not the theme that's being varied, it's the bass line. Yeah, each of the variations is actually melodically quite free and independent of all the others, except to the extent that it is a melodic reflection of the underlying scheme of harmonies that Bach is working with. And oh gosh, it's just amazing. CPE, his son, said that melody is the surface manifestation of an underlying scheme of harmony. Well, he learned that from Big Daddy Bach, obviously. And that's what you hear in the Goldberg variations. And it's just a joy from beginning to end. Next, oh yes, Rachmaninoff's Rhapsody on a theme by Paganini. Now, the Paganini Rhapsody, as it's called for short, is absolutely one of the great sets of variations. And I find it fascinating that, people kind of poo-poo Rachmaninoff generally, but don't give him credit for being the absolute genius composer that he was. And this piece really, really shows it. I mean, that famous 18th variation, gorgeous, lyrical, slushy tune, I mean, it's really just an inversion of the theme. It's a brilliant, brilliant work. And, that theme by Paganini was the source of variations by like a bazillion other composers, including Lutoslawski and Boris Blacher and Brahms and, just everybody did it. But this is the one that makes my list because it is just so glamorous and exciting and virtuosic and intellectually satisfying and funny. Rachmaninoff was not known for being like a laugh riot. Stravinsky called him, like a 6-foot scowl or something like that. But no, the end of this piece is actually rather amusing. And it's probably one of the few times that Rachmaninoff managed to do it. Then we've got, of course, Elgar's Enigma variations, which is another amazing classic in variation format. Each one of these little variations is a character sketch of one of Elgar's friends. And it's so much fun. And the best one is of course, the one with the dog. It's going, it's lovely, absolutely hilarious. It's about a stick being thrown into the river and Dan the bulldog going to get it and snuffling around. And it's just great. Then we've got Franck, the symphonic variations, which is for piano and orchestra, like the Rachmaninoff Rhapsody. Variations for piano and orchestra, by the way, are really sort of a subgenre all of their own. And it's a wonderful medium because you get a variation simply by having the keyboard play it. In other words, you have the tune, then you have the keyboard play the tune. Well, technically that's a variation, with minor ornamentation or whatever differences. Mozart figured that out in the finale of his 17th Piano Concerto, which is a wonderful theme and variations. There are a couple of those in his 24th Piano Concerto, too, as a theme and variations. These kinds of finales allow you to maximize your color and enlarge your form simply by letting the solo do its thing in between orchestral commentary. And that's why these things are so popular, and they are really marvelous. And there are a few of them in this list, as you will see. Then, the Franck symphonic variations, wait a minute, let me finish that. is a masterpiece of, not quite concerto dimensions. It's about 22 minutes long. It's longer than the Ravel left-handed. It used to be very, very popular. We've talked about this before. Nowadays, people don't do it, possibly because it's too short, but it's absolutely marvelous. The variations themselves are actually a very short part of the whole piece. There's a big finale and introduction. But oh my, what lovely, lovely music it is. Then the Walton Hindemith variations. Oh, I adore that. The actual tune from which it is the slow movement of Hindemith's cello concerto. And Walton took this tune and just made wonderful things of it, quoting from other Hindemith works. Hindemith loved the piece. He thought it was marvelous. Well, he should, because it is marvelous. And the fascinating thing about this piece is that the variations are alternating in tempo. One set, what happens is the odd-numbered variations, I think it's the odd or the even. Well, one set of variations, the odd numbers either speed up or slow down, and the other ones slow down or speed up. So the slower ones get quicker, and the quicker ones get slower. That's how it works. They kind of change over in the middle of the piece. Anyway, you can listen to it and figure it out for yourself. It's really a masterpiece. It's the masterpiece of Walton's sort of late period. He wrote it around 1960 or so, just as he was kind of winding down his career, and it really is phenomenally brilliant and fun to listen to. It doesn't get played that often. It's difficult. It's ends quietly. Eek! And I think it just takes a lot of work, but it's a big work, 25 or so minutes, I think, in most performances, and it deserves your time and attention. It really does. Haydn's Andante with variations in F minor. This piece has like lots of names. It was like called a piccolo sonata, a little sonata, and it's a strange work. One of Haydn's latest keyboard works, and very emotionally upsetting in places. It's a set of variations on a almost a funeral march theme. Just dum bum 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 ba da da dum ba dum bum ba dum. Really, almost a model for like the Chopin funeral march type theme. It has this clock ticking in the background, and so it's a sad work. The variations alternate major and minor keys, and then there's a huge coda with brilliant piano writing. I mean, it just all of a sudden it just erupts into the Romantic period. If you don't know it, it's about 15 minutes long. You really owe it to yourself to hear it. I think one of the reasons we don't know it as well is because it doesn't have a name. If it was called like, the hysterical or the tragic or the gloomy or something, I don't know, people would know it more. And it's not part of anything else. It's just Andante with variations in F minor. F minor was Haydn's special minor key. He always used it to suggest loneliness and desolation. And we know this because when he sets a text in F minor, the text invariably talks about abandonment, loneliness, and desolation. So works that are in F minor or F sharp minor, the F minors, like the Farewell Symphony, it's abandonment. It's going farewell. We know what this means in Haydn's music. It makes it very, very interesting. And this piece is very powerful, extremely powerful and emotional. Not what you think when a lot of people think of Haydn. So give it a shot. Then we have Liszt the Totentanz. Oh, what fun. Variations on the Dies Irae. Da, da, do, 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 do. We all know the tune. It was used in Berlioz's Symphonie Fantastique and a million, billion, trillion, zillion other pieces. Quoted in part or in full. Rachmaninoff couldn't write anything without it. It's in the Paganini Rhapsody. It's like do 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 do, and the piano goes in with ba da 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 da. So there you go, and the whole piece ends with it. So yes, the Dies Irae is a popular tune for variations, and Liszt's Totentanz is just one of the most fun of all of them. As the piano and orchestra alternate doing bizarre things with it. It's just great. Dohnányi, his variations on a nursery tune. This used to be the popular coupling to the Rachmaninoff Paganini Rhapsody. For reasons I just don't understand, it it seems to have fallen out of favor. It's a big work. It's concerto length. It's almost half an hour, and it's incredibly brilliant and funny and warm and witty and just delicious. The tune is Twinkle, Twinkle, Little Star, or as Mozart had it, À vous dirai-je, maman, which was a piece of variation work by Mozart on the same tune. Da 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 da. The introduction itself is hilarious. I don't want to give away the fun, but all I can tell you is when you listen to that introduction, the tune is in the introduction. See if you can figure out where it pops up. It's just marvelous, absolutely marvelous, and it should be a repertory piece again. It ought to be popular, and I don't know why pianists these days just don't play it. It's incredibly brilliant. I mean, it's a showstopper of a work. But what can I tell you? Rzewski, The People United Will Never Be Defeated, possibly the greatest variation work of the 20th century for piano, based on a Chilean protest song. Rzewski was a left-winger, and this is a left-winger humdinger of a protest song. Oh my God, it's incredibly catchy. This set of variations is stunning. The variations encompass every possible musical style, but they're always clear and brilliant, and they're very, very highly organized. You get sets of 6 variations where you have 5 different variations in a particular style, and then the 6th is a summary of the previous 5 until you get to the last bunch of 6, which is a summary of all the previous number 1s, number 2s, numbers 3s, numbers 4s, etc. And there's a cadenza that you can improvise if you feel like it. It's amazing, really amazing. And it's 45 minutes long, 50 minutes long. I mean, it's what I like in keyboard variations, a big, juicy hunk of music that you could sink your teeth into. Speaking of which, Anton Reicha, L'Art du Varier, whatever that thing is called, The Art of Variation. That's what it is. The Art of Variations, of making variations. It's a theme and 57 variations. It's a big piece. 57 of the suckers. Most of them are quite short, but some of them are a bit longer. Some of them are very simple. Some of them are extremely virtuosic. Some of them are really, really weird. Reicha was a wonderfully inventive composer, an experimental genius, really. He wrote pieces in odd meters, and this is in 1803, 1804. I mean, this is early stuff, but some of it was very forward-looking. He experimented with quarter tones. He did all kinds of bizarre things, and that makes his music just fascinating to listen to, but also impossible to classify, which is why he hasn't gotten quite the attention he deserves. But he was a character, a real personality. He spent most of his life in France. He was friendly with Beethoven. He was the only teacher Berlioz respected. He really was someone who's worth discovering. His music is so interesting. And he invented the woodwind quintet, let's not forget, and wrote 20 some odd of those suckers. So yeah, The Art of Variation is quite a piece. It's a real discovery. If you like the Goldbergs and the Diabellis and the Rzewskis and all the other big piano sets, you're going to really find something to enjoy in the Reicha. Guarantee it. And speaking of France, let's stay in France for a minute. Alkan, the Festin d'Aesop, Aesop's Feast, the last of his etudes in all the minor keys. And it's fun. It's weird. It's a set of variations representing little animal thingies, some of them anyway, on a wacky tune. It's sort of like Baba Black Sheep. Dum bum 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 ba-dum bum 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 ba 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 bum ba-dum bum 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 ba bum 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 bum. That's the tune, essentially, sort of, kind of. And it gets weirder and weirder until at the end it gets positively terrifying. It rises to this overwhelmingly tragic climax. The guitar comes out of nowhere, along with the hunting things, with the dogs barking and woofing, and it's really, really interesting, and virtuosic to the nth degree. It's only 10 minutes long. I mean, give that one a shot. Boy, that change your life. But back to the orchestra, let's see. Jolie Braga Santos, his symphonic variations on a popular song from the Alentejo region of Portugal. Oh, it's beautiful. It's just beautiful. It's just so pretty. Oh, it's got great tam-tam swats at the beginning and the end as well, but that's not the point. I mean, the tune is just gorgeous. The variations are, cinematic, Hollywood-esque. I mean, they are landscape portraits, and they are so luminous and lyrically intense. If you don't know this piece, you're going to love it. I mean, you're absolutely going to love it. Ives, one of the funniest sets of variations ever, his variations on America. America is also known as God Save the King. In case you didn't know about it, it was appropriated and renamed. And it seems like we're going through another round of doing that stuff. Well, never mind. We're not going there. But Schuman orchestrated it. William Schuman, not Robert Schumann. William Schuman, the American composer, orchestrated it brilliantly. Absolutely brilliantly. And, these variations are just a hoot. The original is for organ, and you can get it in that version too, but the orchestration is so much more fun. I mean, it really is. It's got a little Spanish thing, and I can't even begin to describe all the hilarity that ensues, crazy dissonances and all kinds of stuff. I mean, the tune, it's only like 6 minutes long, but in that 6 minutes, that tune barely emerges alive. Trust me when I tell you. Then, of course, we must talk about the Beethoven Diabelli variations. Of course we have to. They're absolutely wonderful. This is the locus classicus for a set of variations that does everything with a tune that says virtually nothing. It's a very simple little waltz tune. And Diabelli originally, wrote it and sent it to every composer in Austria. He was going to do he was a music publisher as well. He was going to publish a compendium of all the great composers alive in Austria and the German-speaking lands of the day. And he invited them all to submit a variation, and a lot of them did. I mean, Liszt did, Schubert did. I mean, there's like all kinds of, the variation sets that Diabelli compiled has been recorded also, sometimes with the Diabelli variations. But Beethoven sort of sat on it for a couple of years and then sent this enormous volume to Diabelli, who wrote a wonderful preface when he published it, and wrote a wonderful preface saying, I had no idea that my crappy little tune could could result in this. It's amazing. And it really is. It's endless fun, and you really ought to get to know it. It's not well known, the Diabellis. I mean, people talk about them. It's a work that's more honored in the breach. In other words, people talk about it rather than listen to it. And it's about 45 minutes long usually. I don't understand why. The variations are just teeming with personality, and it's a great late Beethoven work. So yes, give it a listen. And finally, last but not least, Freitas Branco, Luís de Freitas Branco, the Portuguese composer who was the mentor of Jolie Braga Santos. You get two Portuguese things here. Vathek, symphonic poem. It's a symphonic poem in variation form. And these variations are extraordinary. It was from his early radical period. You've got one with like string parts that are atonal and 57,000 parts, and you've got this wonderful sort of Colenio clicky thing that I use as a ringtone on my phone. It goes clack, 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 da, 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 da. It's wonderful. Really a fascinating piece. Each variation is another episode in this story of Vathek, the prince and warrior or whatever he was. And you can look up the story, but the piece is just amazing. There are several symphonic poems in variation forms too. I mean, there are lots of those, lots of symphonic variation type things. The most famous, which is not on my list, but I have to mention it, is Strauss's Don Quixote, which is not on my list because, well, it's just never really, it's not one of my favorite pieces. I could live without it, except for the one with the part with the wind machine. That's fun. But, it'll be on your lists. I'm sure some of you will have to pop it on there eventually. I got to leave room for the rest of you to chime in. So please chime away with your themes and variations and keep on listening, friends. Take care.